Ooh wee, you're brown. You're hot. It's like looking in a mirror, only not. Oh,
Beal?
now that is between us, okay?
But you were in.
Unemployed in grad school? Nothing like having your face cut off to disturb your fortnight. The Filmatic Instagram lately?
You recorded them?
Well, look, beats another 6-month hiatus, huh? I mean, if botted views cost $5,000. See anything you like?
Sungrazer.
Forge all the evidence that proves you're you, okay? So wow, it looks like you're gonna be in Florida for the rest of your life?
What?
Now I have got to go. I've got a Sungrazer gig to bomb and gay sex to have. Did I say that? I'm sorry. I meant to say queer. I can say that now. God, I'll miss being brown.
You guy.
Sorry, Casey.
No. Don't worry about it, Mr. Williams. Clearly he's had a traumatic childhood and virginity.
Is that my line?
Yeah. This can be separate. We can cut it. We can cut it so you can just say thank you.
Thank you.
You say like, we're gonna get the show. Like, let's start the show. Like just look straight
So
at
what?
the camera.
Thank you, and then transition it into.
No, well, you already
let's
said
roll
thank you. We
the
got it. So just say like, we'll start the show. Like, start the show.
Let's start the show. Thank you.
There
Let's
we
start
go.
the show.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey. Thank you.
Age of Cage, song of rage, the age of Cage. The age of Cage, starring Nicolas Cage, the age of Cage!
And we're back. We're here. And we're here. We finally finished the intro. Hopefully it came out okay. And we're here with another episode of Age of Cage, talking about the first chunk of action movies. But before that, introduce some of our guests here. Of course, we have Filmatic Age of Cage co-host Casey.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. How many months has it been?
3, probably. At least 3.
That's not too bad.
Maybe 4.
I think it was in February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 4 months.
4 months. Last one was David Lynch, Wild at Heart.
Right.
What other movies were in that?
Raising Arizona and
Raising Arizona.
what was it? It was Cigarettes, Conman. No, wait, I'm mixing it all up. It was we did the title, which we have to come up with one for this too.
Mm-hmm.
But
True.
But yeah, so it's been a minute. It's been
a while. It's so long ago we don't even remember what the last episode was about. That's called good podcast.
Right.
We're here today to talk about. Oh wait, no, sorry. We have another person.
Jeff? Another guest. Yeah, Jeff. Oh wait, I can't say that. I'm not supposed to say his name. Jeff Willis is here.
Jeff Willis.
We'll censor that. Yeah. Right. What's up, Jeff? How's it going?
Fantastic. Big Nick Cage fan, as you both know. Huge Nick Cage
You definitely
fan.
didn't say he was a Neil Breen tier. That's definitely not something you said.
No, because
you're
I hold high regard for Neil Breen.
I think
that's a joke.
By the end of Age of Cage, I think one of our goals is to make sure that Jeff is on the Cage train. that Jeff respects Nicolas Cage as an actor.
That's kind of our for today's show. Is we brought Jeff here. The course of the show, describe these movies to him, entice him to watch either with us or on his own, and keep us on track. I know you like Filmatic listeners. Our last episode was the longest episode of Filmatic ever recorded. Correct?
Yeah, I think by just a little bit it was.
So maybe I don't think this one will be but we'll see. But if it takes that long to convince Jeff, it will take us that long. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so let's hop right into it, right? Do we want to go chronological, or do we want to go with like favorites to least, or do you have any preference at all, Casey?
I guess chronological is probably best.
Okay.
Because that's the thing. So first, let's say I think we should mention what movies we're talking about.
Oh, did I? I was gonna get into that. I was gonna do that. But okay.
What part of the Age of Cage?
Oh, you were gonna do that?
I was.
Well, maybe
so
let's
we're talking
say action part 1.
Action part 1.
It's true.
It's true. We're gonna have to rework the schedule because we're not following really the
schedule is completely off.
Yeah. I think it's okay. I think it's for the better. I think we're like covering it in a more natural way. So keep an eye on
David Lynch just had to die and up our whole shit.
Yeah, man. Selfish. On that meditation for what?
Yeah. But people screaming.
You cut out, but you said people screaming?
Outside of my apartment.
Oh. People screaming in your apartment? It's
outside.
Outside. Okay. Well, it's not like anything big is happening.
They're protesting the Iran war. Apparently, we're in.
Dude, I mean, are we getting political?
Cut that.
No, we don't have to cut that, right? Jeff. We don't.
I mean, dude, listen. Our first movie is a political movie called The Rock.
No, it is. Right? It is, and it's kind of.
It
involves nuclear, sort of.
I don't like
really,
but
it kind of does. It mentions them, so therefore this is.
I gotta say, though, I don't like The Rock. I'm also against the nuclear weapons, but more than anything, not a big fan of The Rock. I get it.
What don't you like about The Rock?
Okay,
Jeff?
Yeah, I didn't know you had an opinion. So, what don't you like about The Rock?
Yeah, Jeff.
I get it. He's very attractive. He's got he does the smolder. Looks in the camera.
Does the smolder.
You got the chest pumping action.
On the same page here. I don't. The chest pumping.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of this
flexing
from
the check?
I don't remember any of this in the movie The Rock, but maybe Jeff could give an example of the smolder for the video watchers, so they know what.
Wait, the movie The Rock? I thought we were talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No,
we're not.
We're talking about The Rock, the 1996 film starring Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, directed by Michael Bay, with score by Hans Zimmer. Okay.
Oh, I love Hans Zimmer.
Don't get me started. Hans Zimmer.
About this movie, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, so the the 3 movies we're talking about, they all came in within the span of like a year and a half. They all came out in 1996 and 1997. The first one being The Rock in 96. So The Rock is, of course, an action movie, and it is centered around Nicolas Cage, who plays a I forget his title. I don't know if you remember his title.
He's an FBI agent.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough because he
He's an
specializes in
FBI
chemicals,
agent
though.
who works
Yeah,
chemical weapon and like terrorism, counterterrorism.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah. No, that's a good
you would
good
say?
description. Yeah, and
Okay.
he gets brought in because a group of U.S. Marines / Navy, just we'll say military officers, both past and present. Mostly they
Mhm.
have served though because they're disillusioned by the government and their government's treatment of black ops operatives, and they don't like that. See, their gripe with the U.S. military complex is not what you'd think. Their gripe is that when we send soldiers on secret
It's
missions,
crazy, actually.
when we send see, this is something you don't think about. When we send soldiers on secret missions to like Middle Eastern countries or countries that we're just trying to, institute regime change or just anywhere that we've obviously not been
Improve
clear.
and make it better.
Yes, yeah, to develop. Yeah, we send soldiers there, and sometimes things happen to them, but we just don't give enough money to those families. We don't tell the families.
Yeah.
We don't tell the families that like
What happened?
your son died in Iran. We just say that they died, and they really don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like that the families are being left out of this crucial. This is all real, by the way. This is the real plot of the movie.
So, the plot of the movie, yes, is like it's a political statement in the sense that it has to do with war, but it is also the stupid possible premise for these guys. I mean, but on another hand, it's like, yeah, I guess like if you
I guess they are stupid
have
in real life. They would do that.
if you have a guy who, like the main guy, the whole thing with him, I don't remember
Ed Harris.
anybody's name.
Ed Harris is the actor.
Ed Harris,
Yeah.
the actor. But so this main guy, his thing is he led like the Tet offensive.
God, it's so terrible.
No, they're like, bro, no, he's did like the most war crimes in Vietnam. Like it was based, and why you should be afraid of him. And like he didn't give a fuck about it. Like he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, so he leads the group of these
awesome.
disillusioned soldiers, and they go, Jeff. They go to. You ever been to Alcatraz, Jeff? They go to Alcatraz, right? And
Jeff, you seem like someone who's probably been to Alcatraz, a tour or something.
No,
You ever visit?
no.
I don't even
We'd
know
have to
where
ask
it is.
Tenzin. You know who probably was?
on-
Tenzin probably been.
Yeah, Tenzin definitely has. If it's a vacation spot in the continental United States, 100% Tenzin's been there. I have not yet. I would love to.
Okay.
Seems cool.
Yeah.
Seems cool.
Well, we're looking to reopen it, folks. We're looking to, which I think is also, there are many political crossovers with things that are currently happening, but
Oh yeah.
and we can also talk about a big one is that Trump, well, I don't know. It came and went very quickly, but there was like a week sort of around when we watched this where Trump was like, a lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Since
A lot has happened.
a lot has happened since we watched this
Been a
movie.
busy
Let's
week.
just say that. To date this podcast, but a lot has happened. Trump was like,
We're with Iran now.
We're reopening Alcatraz, and it's people believe that it happens to perfectly line up with them putting Escape from Alcatraz, the Clint Eastwood Netflix.
Yeah, so people theorize that
So I just
Trump
think it's a fun
watched
little-
Escape from Alcatraz on Netflix and then was like, "This is terrible. We have to reopen it." Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was that reference.
So if you want us to watch
Escape from
Escape
Alcatraz.
from Alcatraz,
Comment down below.
but yeah, Comment in the comment section.
So the disillusioned soldiers, led by Ed Harris, take over Alcatraz, and they threaten to launch 15 chemical weapon rockets at San Francisco, the city of San Francisco, if the government does not pay $100 million to the families of the men who died doing war crimes in the Middle East, but were never properly compensated. Okay. So that's kind of the setup of the plot, Jeff. So Nicolas Cage, he's an agent who specializes in chemical weapons and terrorism. So he gets brought in. But guess who else? And I think this is obviously the most interesting part of this movie, because so far this movie is fucking fucked. But the most interesting
also
part,
because they literally before we get to this, I think we've just probably the first hour of the movie, because
they also dropped this A plot.
lines,
they dropped the plot for a while too to focus on the Sean Connery stuff.
So like the first 30 minutes of the movie is them talking about this. They do like one scene with Cage. Most of it is about the Marine. The first 30 minutes, and then they bring in Sean Connery.
Right.
So
they bring in Sean Connery, who was a former MI6 agent and operative, and he's the only man to ever escape Alcatraz, basically, I think is the insinuation, after he stole a microfilm. And on the microfilm was all this classified U.S. information. Who killed JFK? It's like the president's secret book, really. It's
Israel.
Israel, yeah.
Oh, who said it? Mossad.
Well, we can get to your theories later about that, but
that's for the Filmatic political podcast.
Filmatic is a political podcast because everything is political, Jeff. Yeah,
true.
So that's who Sean Connery plays. Now, Jeff, there's also a theory. There's a theory that's been out there on the internet for a while that unofficially in this movie, Sean Connery is playing an older version of his James Bond, because it's implied that he's James Bond because he's an MI6 agent, secret agent.
Implied that he's fucking sexist.
Well, yeah. Forgot that Sean Connery, yeah. But yeah, so anyway. So they bring him in because it's like, all right, you criminal, we'll get you some years off your sentence if you show us because he escaped. So it's like, how do we get in without the soldiers seeing us so they don't launch the missiles? Now, the next 45 to 55 minutes of the movie is Sean Connery doing some Looney Tunes shit across the city with massive explosions and civilian casualties as he tries to escape from the FBI.
It becomes the entire movie. You don't
see Ed Harris. Yeah,
they do not mention Alcatraz for 45 minutes to an hour. And this movie feels so fucking long because of it. And it's not even like what's happening is boring. It's like it becomes an entirely different movie. So Ed Connery, he doesn't trust these people, obviously. He escaped Alcatraz and then they locked him up so they could never. The whole thing is like they locked him up so that he could never reveal that he's the only person to have ever escaped prison that they shut down, so they don't need to be worried about anyone being able to escape it anyway. So it makes no fucking sense. Well, no, they trapped him because he wouldn't reveal where the micro. Right. But also because.
That's the reason he was never extradited or anything, is because he never gave up on where's the microfilm, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's just been stuck.
So he is he's doing this deal with the government to help them break into Alcatraz, get these guys, stop them. So escapes the government. He goes on again, like a large. This car chase I thought was cool, but
It's
the most like as you said, Looney Tunes. Jeff, there's a scene. I don't know how long. In my mind, it feels like this scene is at least like 5 minutes long of just this trolley sequence. There's like people literally are like throwing themselves like the trolley's like full. It's just San Francisco, so they got the big hills. It's going down a hill at like full speed. People are like, it's like 9/11. People are jumping off the trolley and into like traffic, and I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. You're watching.
I mean, it is the most awesome
themselves.
part of the movie. To be fair, it like in an insane way.
Dude, it's so much better than the rest of it, which we'll get to.
And like the explosions are like bass boosted almost. Like
they're so cool. I mean, it's Michael Bay. It's one of his first movies.
Yeah.
There's a part where it's all practical effects. All shit looks really cool, but the part where they blow up the trolley and it literally like levitates. You know what I'm talking about? It like levitates in the air a bit. Like it looks not real, but it seemingly is.
I mean,
and then they don't even catch it.
So it's real in the sense that they actually like filmed a practical stunt, but it's not real in the sense that it would never actually move like that, but it's on wires. So it's just like,
yeah.
But so it's cool. I mean, I don't mind it, but again, so no plot is advanced in this or by this.
Yeah.
It's literally just to be like, you Sean Connery, you stop trying to get away from us. You're gonna help us, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. And it's like, okay, like, you just killed like 100 people. Like,
yeah, there's obviously like no consideration of that at all. But,
and also, they try to introduce the thing with his daughter. Should we mention that? Like,
yeah, I mean they use that to give him some sense of like character, but that's my main problem.
To like empathize with him, yeah.
Characters, literally, like no one. I couldn't tell you about any character other than like what their job.
Well, this is. I think it's a good point to bring in the Michael Bay doesn't know how to write women piece because they're just used as like devices and not even in a way that. Because the plot is bad anyway, so it's like, what's the so it's just like, Sean Connery's daughter is just like a thing for him to be like, I'm human because I have a daughter, so it's okay that I'm killing 100 people at a time. And Nicolas Cage, they have bits with Nicolas Cage's like fiance where she just like wants to fuck him all the time.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, she's just like. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and there was the only 2 women in the movie, which is not like, I'm not trying to be like, there's a quota, there should be a quota, but Michael Bay clearly like doesn't, I don't know. He's just a fucking idiot.
So let's move this shit forward. He escapes the car chase, to find his daughter. Nick Cage finds out who his daughter is. They use that to like trap him. They recapture him again. So you're basically at the same point they were originally, but now he's like, "Okay, you got me. I'll help you."
So yeah, now we're like an hour and a half into the movie.
An hour and a half into the 2.5 hour long movie, I think.
Yeah.
And they finally decide to they show you the Marines again.
Right, they finally show you the Marines again, and some of them are getting second thoughts, and they just show. I think it's mostly just scenes of the Marines talking to like the president in the war room and being like, "You better pay us." You get some more backstory about motivations, which have not been fully revealed, I think, till that point of like exactly what they want. But really, I feel like the Marines really don't play a role until they actually infiltrate Alcatraz, which is what happens next. Which is that Nicolas Cage gets sent in with Sean Connery to Alcatraz, and in the process, all the other soldiers with them die.
Yeah. That I was like, it happens immediately, and I get like that's the point too. Is they're like, oh, like, it'll be like a harder mission. I don't know. Again, it's just like I don't give a shit about. I'm shitting on this movie a lot. I did not enjoy it. There are some cool parts of it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed some.
Well, I think there are cool parts of it that are like, whoa, like action movies used to be cool, with the practical effects and the explosions and stuff, and some of the choreography. But then you watch Face Off, and it's like all of that times 100 times better, well done. Right. So it's like, why would I ever watch this one again?
Yeah.
Basically,
they have this weird standoff where you're like doing a mutiny and against the code, and I don't know, maybe this hits like if you're really fucking stupid and like I don't know, like,
no, that it is. It is just like
because it seems like they're trying to make some point about like oh, this is like a good military versus a bad military. Good military would do. They would recognize that, like,
and I would love to see military
it is bad,
officers kill themselves and kill each other. Well, that too, but like I would love to just see them just like, but I just at least have some semblance of like.
I would love to see them shooting. Well, yeah,
and of like reasoning besides like we want. Like the one group is like, we want dead soldiers' families to get respect and credit and money, and the other group is like just following orders. I think there is on paper I could see an interesting thing there, but it's just not well executed in any way. So
yeah,
it's just stupid, and you're just like sitting there like, all right, when's Sean Connery coming back on screen? Because at least it'll be kind of funny,
Yeah, his voice.
Yeah,
his voice. Awesome. We totally skipped and didn't talk over his awesome hair at the beginning of the movie, which I'm like,
just fuck him over.
If that wasn't a wig, that was like sick as even if it, whatever.
Like they just
look so.
This movie
cool.
needed a better
long ass hair.
I would like to see a movie with these.
And then they trim him and make him look like traditionally like normal. I'm like, yeah, like okay.
And I'm just saying, like,
immediately less interesting.
If they had this movie if it was just Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage on a mission, I would like that. I think it'd be good. There's like so much potential there. There's just even with just Sean Connery's character, the moment where he's in the interrogation room and then he destroys the two-way mirror just to see who the agent, just to see the agent that he knows who's been like hunting him his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're in whatever his name is. He's like John or whatever. And then it just hard cuts. That was the entire point of him. You think it's like to escape, but it's not. It's just for him to just see what's going on back there. Shit like that's cool.
Yeah.
And there's not nearly enough of it.
True. So they go to Alcatraz, and again, everybody gets killed, but Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage's character, Nick Cage's character is like he's a pussy, and that's like I think that's probably the biggest problem I have with this movie is like Nick Cage.
He's not given anything to work with.
Yeah,
he's given nothing to work with. So it might be the most sauceless Nicolas Cage movie so far.
Yeah,
and I would include the Humanity Bureau.
Dude, that movie,
which we haven't talked about yet, which means we have to
like-
rewatch it. But
dude, are you sure we haven't talked about it?
no, I
yet?
know we haven't. That was
I
right.
thought we did.
No, we didn't. I know we haven't. Trust me.
Okay,
Yeah, we didn't do that episode.
we didn't do the sci-fi episode at all.
No, because that was right when the hiatus happened. Yeah,
All right, y'all, you're in for a treat when we talk.
maybe that could be
Let
next.
the revolution begin. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can rewatch that. I'm so excited to rewatch.
I am
that
excited.
fucking-
No, but I am excited to rewatch Mandy. I really liked Mandy. I don't think that
I thought-
it seemed like the rest of our group didn't like it as much as I did, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I definitely didn't care for Color Out of Shape.
Color Out of
We
Space
have-
was
we have
mid,
things-
mid out of space.
Out of Space. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
That's
just
why
back.
I forgot to even rank it. Just back.
I've been here the whole time.
They all
Okay.
get killed. And then Nicolas Cage's character is a pussy.
He's like, I don't know how to use a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he's an FBI agent, so he
Mhm.
like,
Definitely had to
should
do
know
that.
how to use a gun. Which like doesn't make sense. And anyway. Sean Connery's character like gets both of the guns. So he's like, I'm gonna escape. We're not continuing the mission. Meanwhile, like, you know,
There's like this happens 5 times, by the way. There's like 5
character-
separate times where Sean Connery's just like turns heel and trying to exit, and Nicolas Cage is like, please, you can't exit. They're gonna kill us all. They're gonna nuke San Francisco. And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I just care about my daughter who lives in San Francisco. And Nicolas Cage is like, your daughter lives in San Francisco. And he's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, what's going on here? Why does it happen 5 times?
So
It's so boring.
everything with the plot, yeah, it's just like it either like they ignore shit for a while or they remind you of it like every 5 minutes and no time for anything to actually develop. Instead, they just like, I don't know, they try and like you said, just like it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there
Like,
not even that much to talk
in
about.
that next
Yeah, good.
There isn't. And then in that next sequence, they're like, oh, the Marines like try to kill them by shooting them, and they doesn't kill them. And then they try like blowing them up, and that doesn't work. And then so Nicolas Cage's character's goal here is to defuse these like he's trying to like ninja defuse search and destroy style.
You know, they throw
fucking,
smoke on Cat. You know,
Yeah.
on A site. I need to hold E to defuse
And
Octavia.
he's literally trying to do that at like 3. I don't know. They like changed the number of how many fucking.
Yeah, they're like there's
rocket
6
launchers
bombs, but
there
also 2 didn't work, and then one's diffused,
Yeah,
and one's not
there's-
diffused.
They literally use that excuse that they're like, oh, like 2 of them won't do anything. Like, I'm like, why are you even putting that in the movie? What is happening? So, Jeff, it makes it really
This
is
is miserable.
so
This is
poorly
miserable.
written. And you're just like begging for that, like you're begging for something to happen, and then finally, like I don't know. It literally the like diffusing of these weapons is drawn out over another like 45 minutes. So there are like 2 left, and there's one that's like in like a fucking far away. No, the military is like it's coming up on the deadline, and they
Okay, because they give it a
they
deadline.
haven't
yeah.
gotten all of the views yet. The president is like,
Oh, he wants to nuke. Yeah.
sure, he wants to nuke this. Well, he doesn't want
Nuke Alcatraz. Bomb
he wants to
Alcatraz.
blow up. He wants
Like-
to blow up Alcatraz. Like, you know, it's like Iran. President Trump, you know?
Right.
And he's just like, we're gonna blow up the whole thing. But then he basically is like, oh, we're gonna call their bluff. Which, again, this makes no fucking sense to me because it allows them to shoot one of these missiles at San Francisco and then perfectly just like predicts that the main guy is going to like have a face and decide to not fire it into the city and is going to just shoot it into the water instead. Wrong to be.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
No, they're like, well, we know this general. He cares about human life, even though he was a war criminal in Vietnam. We know him. He's a good man.
Yeah. So that's again, bringing the weird like political fucking take they're trying to make. And then naturally the other army guys get pissed at him. Are like, why do you actually kill 100,000 people, bro? Why didn't you do that?
Well, they paint some of these military rogue people who are working under Ed Harris as realistic, that are just like very bloodthirsty, and they're like, I don't give a shit. Let's just fucking bomb San Francisco to do it, and they don't care about them. Or some of them are mercenaries. Actually, some of them are just getting paid. Some of them are not. Like directly tied to the motive. Look,
well, some of them are saying they're like now I don't care about anything of them, so should more.
But basically, Nick Cage is eventually able to defuse all the bombs, and he has to like light a flare to let them know to not bomb Alcatraz because he's defused all the bombs. He lights the flare after like a fight where he does one more final like thing where Sean Connery's like, I'm out of here, and he's like, no, please come back, and Sean Connery's like, no, fuck you, I'm leaving. And you think Sean Connery's gone. Sean Connery shows up in the nick of time to save Nicolas Cage and help him defuse the last bomb, and then he does it, and then they call in on Nick Cage. By the way, I should mention they're not actually going to pardon Sean Connery. They just tell him that, but Nicolas Cage knows that they're not actually going to do it. So when they're like, what happened to Sean Connery? And Nicolas Cage is like, he died. He got killed. But he didn't, because Nicolas Cage wants to help him go free to live with his daughter.
So, things we missed. There are hostages on the island.
Who cares about those?
Well, here's the thing. This seemed really unrealistic to me because they were doing this thing where they were like, we're going to bomb Alcatraz anyway, even though there are a hostage. And it's like,
there's not much debate about it.
Because that would never happen. Yeah. And it's just interesting.
Like, I think Nicolas Cage is the only person who cares that there are hostages there.
So, no parallels. But
bring them home,
But they an important thing there as well is something that really threw me off is they're doing this. They're trying to create like a sequence where like he has to shoot up this green flare into the sky to say like we've defused it so they won't bomb. The B-2 bombers flying in.
Not relevant at all either, by the way.
What do you mean?
Because the Iran B-2 bombers dropped bunker missiles tonight.
Oh yeah. So the bombers are flying in, and they just launch the rockets anyway, or like do it like just as he's lighting the flare off. They bomb part of Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Miraculously, somehow they say it doesn't kill anyone, and other than Sean, that is Nick Cage's excuse.
Yeah, is that the bomb got Sean Connery
like, died from that, or like they just use it as like a tool to be like, look, there's a big explosion. It was filmed on location, which I guess is for a lot of like the whole movie. Seemingly in San Francisco.
Well, don't forget the National Treasure ass ending. Because so if you remember, Sean Connery's in trouble because of the microfilm that he stole back in the 60s or whatever. And before he parts ways with Nicolas Cage as a thank you, he says, you should check out this location in Kansas or whatever. And Nicolas Cage on his honeymoon goes to the location, and guess what? The microfilm was hidden there in some old church. So he gets the microfilm, and the final line in the movie, Jeff, as he drives away with his newlywed wife, is he goes in a weird, almost Western accent that he did not have before. I think also he's like, "Baby, you want to know who killed JFK?" And roll credits,
And that's
directed by Michael Bay.
The whole movie.
Yeah. So I think we could give our ratings on the movie, and Jeff could give his like theoretical rating because he just basically saw the movie too. So,
yeah, basically.
So on Letterboxd,
We'll check.
yeah, on Letterboxd, let's see what I gave this. I think I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars out of 5.
I also gave it 3 out of.
I think,
which I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about it
I feel
feels like
really-
I would rate it less.
That was one of the worst
Because
movies we've ever
it makes
talked
me
about on
laugh
this
so much.
podcast. That without being funny, I had more fun talking about Black Adam than talking about that movie.
I absolutely had more fun talking about Black Adam, but I don't think it's a worse movie.
No, I don't.
I will say, I think a lot of the movie looked like, and I don't know if that's, I just didn't like it. It was just like, I thought it was like really like the aesthetic.
You're cutting out.
I thought there were
but-
some cool
yeah.
moments. Am I back?
And I mean, you were here. I just kept cutting out whenever you said it looked. And the aesthetics were.
Looks like shit.
Oh, okay.
There was censoring. I thought some parts of it looked like shit. I thought there were some that, again, like practical effects.
But
One moment that was really cool was when Nick Cage puts the green. We haven't talked about this at all, but the weapon in the movie are these like
the green balls.
green goblin ass
They're the coolest looking things
balls.
in the movie.
You could say,
Yeah.
You could say balls. Yeah, you could say that. Green balls. These green it looks like a green goblin weapon, and I'm wondering if they were inspired at all. But he does a green goblin ass move where he like puts the orb in his mouth, and then it leads to him like becoming this. I forget what it is, but it basically like melt.
Dude, Jeff's asleep. Oh no, he's awake. I think.
Oh.
You with us, Jeff?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. The movie happened. 3 stars.
3 stars. Jeff, what are you rating this movie?
Haven't seen it. So 5 stars feels fair,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You know?
Good. Yeah.
Would you watch this movie now that we explained it to you?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Fuck. I mean, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Were you not expecting that?
No, I thought that this was terrible. I thought it was miserable. That was possibly one of the. I don't know. Least entertaining filmatic section in a long time.
It's not first on my list. It's not first on my list, but
Mhm. What is first
Sounds
on
pretty
your
good.
list these days?
I don't know. I was trying to come up with a joke. Couldn't find one.
It's okay. Well, this could be a good time to tease that pretty soon, Jeff, we're going to be recording the Star Wars franchise episode.
Oh, true. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to episode 1. Nabil's favorite. Nabil's favorite.
Not
by
my
far.
favorite. I just said
He
it's
said-
better than the other
said-
two. It's better than the other
No.
two.
He said
Better.
he said he would rather watch episode 1
Then 2 or 3.
than any other movie ever recorded ever.
Yeah. No, that's true. I forgot I said that.
No, that's how I know how you're straight, because listen, the watchability. Sorry, everybody.
That's how I know you're straight. Turns into a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah. So the watchability of episodes 1 through 3 goes up exponentially as
the quality
as
goes in
Hayden
the opposite
Christensen gets
direction.
hotter.
Fair. The
Third
quality of the
movie,
overall movie
sex.
goes down. But
Also, Ewan McGregor gets
Who said I
hotter
disagree
over
with
time.
that?
You could even
His look in episode 2, it's incredible.
just look in episode 1. You freak.
No, is it? Okay. All right, whatever. I'm moving on. I will not be baited like this. Let's talk about. Let's get away from the pit we were just in. Let's talk about Face Off. How about that? Because these next two films are in the same year.
Chronologically,
I don't know. I would have to look up the month. Okay. June is Face Off, and Con Air release date is June 6th. So it's Con Air's first by like 2 weeks. God damn it.
That's pretty crazy though that they're 2 weeks.
Can you imagine going to the movies that month?
They don't do that. You don't do that anymore. Yeah. You don't
see a big
like
actor. Yeah. An actor in 2 films.
You don't see an actor be the same. Yeah. I mean, what? Our fucking Robert Pattinson, our GOAT.
The real GOAT.
Our generation.
True, because, okay, let's have a quick little intermission. Jeff just watched Mickey 17.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
And?
I liked it a lot. I like the whole bit with like Mickey 18.
Mm.
The threesome part.
If you were like in his position, would you let them clone you?
That's a difficult
Would you have
question.
a threesome with yourself?
No.
And
well, it's Jeff. It's not. I don't think it counts as. If anything, it's like mastered. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, regardless, it's like.
That's your takeaway.
Okay. We'll talk about that more.
Mickey 17 was a good movie. We talked about doing a podcast on it around, but
4.5 out of 5. It's my take.
I don't know what I put. I think I put a 4. Very sadly, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Anyway,
some other time.
Pattinson is supposed to be shooting. I don't know when they actually come out.
He's shooting what? He's shooting what out?
Batman. He's shooting coming out. Actually, he's coming. He's shooting the Batman Part 2, which is not canceled. And it's supposed to still be happening
as of right now.
Don't be one of these annoying fucking Twitter fucks.
I'm saying I'm at a point where it's been.
It's gonna cancel them.
No, dude. First of all, James Gunn's the GOAT. All right. Second of all, I love the Batman as much as any other sane person. It's been long enough. Robert Pattinson's getting older. Just fold his ass in the DCU. I don't care anymore. Like Matt Reeves, you had your chance. You know, if you can't crack it, I'll respect that. But give us Pattinson. You know, like.
Yeah, I don't get why I honestly at this point I really hope they just make it part of the same. I don't want to see another. It would make me very confused to see another Batman happening consecutively at the same.
Because that's the way it's shaking out to be.
Doing this.
Yeah.
they're doing this Clayface movie.
Well, apparently it's supposed to be based.
What?
Apparently it's supposed to be really based because the writer.
Apparently it's supposed to be based.
Well, apparently it's going to comment. No, listen. Apparently it's going to comment on like AI and shit, and AI is bad. So to me, that means it's going to be based.
Yes.
How?
Because Clayface takes the form of other people and steals their work.
Yeah.
And, you see what I'm saying? Because Clayface.
What does that have to do with the AI?
Okay, I
Anyway,
didn't
thought
write the fucking
Clayface-
script. I'm just telling you what I saw. All right.
What? Anyway, I'm not gonna.
Oh, Casey Pro AI. Casey Pro AI. Someone write that down.
Yeah. So, anyway, I keep talking about these movies. On air.
Conair Park. What's he up to? What's he doing?
Who would know?
All right, so we'll talk about Conair, which came out in June 1997. And Jeff, I think you'd like this movie a lot more than The Rock. I think that this is an actually good turn your brain off a little bit, sit back and take it all in kind of movie, action flick. So Nicolas Cage is a soldier. Loves soldiers, right? He's a soldier. And he comes back from his tour, whatever the fuck those fuckers do. And he goes to meet his girlfriend in a bar, right? And in the bar, these guys, these two guys keep like harassing him, hitting on his girlfriend, right? He tries to let it slide, tries to be a good guy. But when he leaves the bar with her some hours later, they confront him, fight with him. He defends himself, self-defense. But in doing so, it's the guy the wrong way or some shit, and the guy dies. The other guy. So he gets sent to jail for manslaughter. 8 years. And also, by the way, his wife was pregnant. So she has the kid. He's in jail for 8 years, right? Then comes the big day, parole, right? He's finally going to get out and go back to his home state of Alabama. And but guess what? The plane where he's going to be transferred to go finalize this process is also full of criminals.
Dude, okay, so stop there for a moment. Amazing premise.
We're in perfect premise.
Crazy premise off the bat. There's no other movie like this to my. It's a great premise and sets up the movie. Those first couple scenes, like him coming home from war, Vietnam specifically. Maybe the only one that I'll give a little credence to some veterans from because maybe he was drafted. So he's coming back from the war. They build a relationship. There's actually is because it's an action movie. Is the woman still kind of just
no? But they set up at least him and the daughter, like his connection to his daughter he's never seen before very well.
So they give you a reason to root for this guy, which is being back at The Rock. Literally, you have no reason to give a shit or care about anything that's happening, and because of that, there's no stakes.
Yeah, well, it's like if I lived in the world of The Rock. If I lived in the world of The Rock, and I turn on the TV and it's like fucking CNN or CNN, as some would say.
The trolley. You're watching the trolley,
and I'm like, oh, dude, what's going on? Oh, a trolley, it's fucking exploding. Oh, some military
people jumping up. You're watching like cell phone footage of people like
oh, that's crazy. You see some crazy videos on Twitter, like, oh, that's pretty funny, guys. Check out this video, that someone took. And then you're like, oh, what? Some military fuckers took over Alcatraz, and they might blow up San Francisco. Nah, I don't really care. You turn the TV off because I don't live in San Francisco. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
Now this story, you hear the story of Con Air happening, dude.
Dude, Dude, come on, dude. It'd be like that, like the day under with like the summer.
It'd be the opposite of
feel like
OJ.
that
It would be
would-
the opposite of OJ.
Yeah.
It would be like,
Well, because also here's the other thing. It's like we'd be rooting for the prisoners, right?
oh yeah,
Because that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. I'm like, dude, this would be kind of awesome. Like, good for those fucking
Yeah.
prisoners. Even, even like serial.
even
Kane,
Cyrus the
we'll
Virus.
get to.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, for a crazy name, dude. Dang, you actually remember characters. You actually, but I named.
well, I mean that one's kind of hard
at
to
the
forget.
moment.
Cyrus the Virus. I don't really
Yeah,
remember the other
yeah.
ones, but
But yeah, so point being, they give you something to think about the movie. There's actual reason to be invested, and also my point about main character being hot makes it better. Especially true for this is probably Nick Cage's second hottest role after Arizona, as we discussed in the last episode.
and it's interesting also because he has very long, matted, greasy hair. And Jeff, I don't know if you know anyone who has long, matted, greasy hair, but it works.
Never met anyone.
Okay, well, in the movie, it works on Nicolas Cage, even though he's a prisoner who has no access to, I'm sure, very good cleaning products and stuff. So it's interesting, like how some people can maintain that. But, so where were we on the plot?
Okay, so we're at the plane.
The plane. Okay,
We're at the plane.
The Con Air. Yeah.
Okay, so basically there's so basically there's a plane full of convicts.
Right, and okay, here, Jeff, just listen. Here are some of the convicts I remember from the top of my head. All right, there's Cyrus the Virus, played by John Malkovich, who is a
Dude, he's
megalomaniac,
awesome. So
super intelligent, sort of leader of the group. There is Dave Chappelle before he was transphobic.
true.
And he's he's comedic relief. He's comedic relief. And there is Danny Trejo, who is a serial rapist.
Who's a
Probably the most unnecessary part of the movie because they're just like,
yeah,
he's there and he's just like, I want to rape people.
yeah.
That's like that's the whole part.
They,
It's
Yeah.
really bad.
It's
really
weird.
Yeah.
there are a couple things like that in this movie that are really weird. Like there's also a gay criminal. You
There's some
remember
really
the gay
real-
criminal? The
Why are we putting him in the
gay
same
criminal,
tier? as-
like yeah, dude, it's like Danny Trejo. They don't talk about what he did. I don't.
They're
he
literally
barely has
just
a
like he's a
name.
convict
He's
who
just
is
like,
gay.
He's just like a limp wrist, like, and he talks like this, and he has like a classic like 90s like gay voice, and like the second they like take the plane over, he's like, let me serve, let me like cut up my like uniform into being like a fit. It's really stereotypical and strange in the middle of this movie for no reason. There are a couple lines where they're just like, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but they're just like out of nowhere, like comedic gay character for no fucking reason. It's very interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's also a character like that in Face Off, right?
What do you mean?
It's anyway.
yeah, we'll get to it.
There's a character who is basically functions and written in the same exact way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they are like a comedic relief gay character,
Yeah.
Who serves no other purpose. But anyway,
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
We're introducing all of these characters. There is the main who's he played by? The main black guy.
Who? Who are you talking about?
The main one of
Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Mission Impossible.
So
yeah.
They're introducing all of these basically as their like classic character introduction as they're being brought on to
one by
and
one.
There's John Cusack, who is
based John Cusack.
Yeah, he's goated. You know, this is potentially
this is before he got blacklisted from Hollywood. Yeah,
true. But early formation of being John Malkovich, with John Malkovich, Cusack being
and Nicolas Cage. Well, I mean,
before
connected through adaptation.
True.
Interesting.
They all are headed onto this plane and they're being transported to where? Just like a different Supermax.
Basically, yeah. It's just a just a prisoner transfer, and they just throw Nicolas Cage on there because it happens to go to Alabama. So.
Oh, and important is there's one guy who is like, there's like there's John Cusack and there's like a bad FBI or whatever,
like a heavy heavy-headed, hard-headed.
Hard-headed.
He's not necessarily
like,
a bad guy.
I'm putting one of my guys on there with a gun. And he's just like, oh, I'm gonna make sure one of my guys is on there to make sure everything goes smoothly. But John Cusack's like, don't give him a gun.
Yeah, because John Cusack's character is just he's like, I've studied this, like I know exactly what we have to do. This is my operation, And this guy just keeps fucking him over by like doing other shit.
Yeah.
But so they all get on the plane, and the plane takes off, and the inmates kind of instantly take control. They just start setting things into motion. They just capture all the guards, and take over the plane. Then the plane has to make a stop.
I think it's pretty good. Oh, I was gonna say I like that scene where
everything goes to shit. Yeah.
He's honestly like pretty. Well, yeah, like Dave Chappelle is a component in it. He like coughs up a match, I think, to then like a guy on.
Oh yeah, he just lights.
Literally,
he's also being like anti, like the guy's like a Native American. He's just like, "How's it going, Chief?" And just sets them on fire. And he's like, something peace pipe or like whatever. I don't know. Just like
a lot of like racial. I don't know who wrote this. There's a lot of racial comedy in it for sure. Well, it's like again very dated. But
would you be surprised that it was it's connected to Jerry Bruckheimer, who is a Michael Bay associate who produces all of Michael Bay's movies.
Also wrote and made Face Off. Yeah. And that's why we were like
produced it.
Yeah, because that's why we were like those are those characters between, or maybe was it between Con Air and The Rock?
It's Con Air and The Rock. That's the overlap.
Oh, of the two gay guys? I don't know.
Well, of the dated 90s movie components, because
I see
both are Michael Bay or Jerry Bruckheimer.
There are, because one of the Marines is I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's because of Jerry Bruckheimer. He's basically Michael Bay, but a producer. So
fair. So moving on. Next part of the
they
take over the.
They take over the plane. Then
DEA guy drops his gun like an idiot and instantly gets shot. He literally like fumbles his gun and they just shoot him in the head immediately. Which I think was like funny. There are a lot of good funny moments.
There are some funny ones. Yeah. And also don't forget Steve Buscemi is a prisoner who is killing
A
cannibal. Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to go through like the play by play of everything. I don't know if it's useful because it's just a lot of like we have to blend into the air traffic. We have to land but not be seen, and there's a sandstorm, so we have to disguise ourselves and a lot of little shit like that.
It's a lot of like Cage. He gets to in this movie compared to The Rock, for example. He's playing like the more like straight laced guy, but he's gets a little bit more freedom, like the writing and like the action mode, where I think he, you know, basically the role he falls into, he just wants to see his daughter, so they're able to find out through secret ways that he they find out, like John Cusack's character finds out that he's a veteran, he is based, is going to try and keep them from chew out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's the fear, like, oh, we have no, but they're basically like weaving in the sky, except they have no way to really communicate. Although I love that moment, Rock guy out of the
that just drops his body and writes a message on it.
Yeah, that person.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah.
Yeah, and then like Dave Chappelle's character gets crushed to death by the landing gear when they take off again. I don't know. I feel like maybe a play-by-play isn't that necessary for this, outside of the fact that there's like a lot of like it's good. A lot of it is like just good sort of cartoonish action antics that are well
with
done.
Like the plane and it being like somehow they were able to fly and operate this. They have just like some guy who a lot of the movie takes place with them like crash landed in like random field in the like not field. It's like a landing. Field. But yeah, they bring in like some more like traditional. So,
any thoughts on what you cut out?
Oh, any thoughts on that part where rural air?
They do some weird tension bit where Steve Buscemi, the cannibal, meets a little girl, and they're like implying it's like really tense. It's like, oh, is he gonna eat the little girl? But he just sits and plays with her. So that was an interesting like a bridge. I mean, it's just a lot of like little shit of like John Malkovich like ordering people to do something, and Nicolas Cage is just to like play along or like secretly try to do shit to like send a message to the authorities. It's all well done.
John Malkovich's character done.
Yes.
Say enjoyable.
Yeah, it's just cool to have like just like a cartoonish villain, like because he doesn't necessarily have any motivation as far as I know, besides he's like, oh, we're all gonna go to like Hawaii or whatever and live or somewhere that's non-extradition, I guess, maybe not Hawaii, but but yeah, so then all these antics happen, and then Nicolas Cage eventually obviously gets control. Then he has to try to land the plane in Las Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip.
That shit's awesome.
Causing insane destruction. Very Michael Bay coded. Yeah. And then there's also another chase because like the bad guys aren't dead yet, so he has to chase them on the street, and they're like on a fire truck. And then they finally all die, and then he reunites with his daughter, who's at the Las Vegas Strip.
They meet for the first time. Pretty good movie overall. Yeah, I feel like there isn't a lot to talk about with this one.
There's not.
But the and I was not crazy about this one. I just think it was like fairly middle of the road. Some good sequences, good characters. But nothing too crazy.
Middle of the road, not as miserable to watch as The Rock. It really is just like it's like the kind of thing when you're younger and it's like movies would come on TV and you would on like a random channel and you'd be like, all right, I'll finish the movie, you know. That's the kind of movie this is.
Yeah. Rating,
I gave it 3.5. Half a star better than The Rock, which feels about right.
Me as well.
So
yeah,
we'll work that into our Age of Cage ranking. But now we get to talk about the actually good movie.
Yeah,
one of the best. I think it's going to end up pretty high on the list once we're done.
Yeah,
but Face Off, directed by John Woo. Face Off. I took his face off. So, those who don't know, John Woo is a goat. He directed and started the Hong Kong action niche genre, whatever you want to call it, that directly inspired movies like The Matrix, which then inspired all of the action that led us to today. So many people consider him to be kind of like the godfather of action films, and modern action films at least. So, and he also did Mission Impossible 2, the one that everyone hates for no reason, even though it's fucking awesome. So I went on a whole rant about that, like the night after we watched Face Off when I was somewhere, and I was just talking about. Someone was like, "Oh, what movies did you guys?" And I was just talking about Face Off, and I launched into that. It was a whole thing. It was quite a scene. So Face Off. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Nicolas Cage is a gangster, criminal warlord, or whatever you want to call him, and
well, more of like the
Joker.
Terrorist.
Oh yeah,
I would say more of like I don't know exactly.
It's like a
thief.
It's like a in the Venn diagrams. It's like the Joker, a terrorist, and a gangster, and the in between and the overlap.
Yeah,
that's Nicholas.
I mean, he is like
Castor Troy.
He's portrayed as like Castor. The names in this movie,
so good,
bro,
so good.
But he is portrayed as like a super villain.
That's why I put. Like that's actually why I put the Joker in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just really interesting. I hadn't really thought about it that way until you said it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you get that opening scene that everyone has memed on the internet for so long, where the choir is singing and Nicolas Cage is dressed up as a priest. Oh. And he jumps and dances around and sings and accosts a possible minor, and then plants a bomb. So again, Joker,
and then
Joker.
plants a bomb. Yeah. So
anything
classic Nick Cage to say. This is like peak him acting like at his like most absurd and ridiculous. And we'll get to he doesn't really get to do too much of that in this movie,
but John Travolta does,
and that's what
John Travolta really surprised us. Yeah, no, I mean, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So John Travolta is an FBI special agent. We get to see a flashback of Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy, trying to assassinate him when he's on a merry-go-round with his son, but the bullet hits his son instead. So,
Well, it's both of them.
Oh, yeah, true.
It's
Yeah,
important.
because he has that scar.
It's both of them. It goes through him and through his son and kills him.
Yeah.
It's like 5 years.
Yeah. And he survives, but his son does not, thus starting their epic vendetta cat and mouse sort of thing that's set up. So 6 years later, this is when Nicolas Cage plans to bomb, and they're finally on his tail, meaning the FBI is on his tail. Also, Nicolas Cage, or whatever, Castor Troy, has a younger brother named Pollux.
Again, lazy name. So awesome.
Yeah.
So fucking cool. We're not doing it like this anymore.
Yeah, we are not doing it like this anymore. They don't make them like this.
When's the last time we named someone Pollux?
Castor Troy, Pollux, Sean Archer. Come on. So John Travolta chases down Castor Troy, who's about to take off on a plane. You get an awesome action. Every action sequence in this film is money.
Dude, it's so good. Dude, the part where they're like jumping and firing the guns.
Yeah,
through the.
That's John Woo. That's John Woo.
Fucking cool.
We would not be where we are without him.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. It's hard to not though, because like there's this was a big. So this is the first one of these 3 that we watched, which I think was kind of unfortunate because it was like we watched it in the order of Face Off, Con Air, The Rock, and I think it also kept us from like being as excited about recording because I remember after watching Face Off, I am not an action movie person, and I know like it's not your favorite feel, but you're a little bit more into it. And,
it's up there.
Yeah, and but for me, it's very much not what I'm used to. So like, it got me really excited about like these movies. I'm so excited to watch them. And then just kept down, and then others. But for me, it was just very cool seeing.
Jeff's asleep.
Oh, this is how.
Hear him snoring in the background. Oh, you guys can hear that. We'll move him over to somewhere else.
Jeff.
No, don't.
Oh. Bleep that.
Okay.
So
this was not. This is out of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, just like seeing. Yeah, and just seeing like these action sequences. I guess I was. On one hand, maybe I'm easily, blown away because it's not something I'm used to, but I felt like they were uniquely special. This show. This opening sequence in the airport and this hangar.
Well, they just crash a plane into the fucking hangar, and everyone jerks off because Christopher Nolan did that in Tenet. John Woo just did that shit like it was nothing. Like an opening of the movie.
Yeah, bro. I mean, the shit where they're like, it's like firing out of he's just killing people. Like,
he's just shooting everybody, every civilian.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing fucking matters. They're just killing everybody. They like try to like, they're flying the helicopter like side by side with the fucking.
And it's all real.
Yeah, and it's like, how is this real? How did they actually do this? And why can't we do this? And I don't know. They never do that. And I know like possible. I haven't seen them.
But even they're not doing it as like they're doing. He's doing cool stuff.
Correct me if I'm.
Yeah.
But they do like specific stunts.
Yeah, well, basically what happens with the new ones is that Tom Cruise will be like, I want to jump out of a plane and do a halo jump. Or like, I want to hang on the back of a plane. And then they'd film that. And then they're like, all right, well, how are we going to piece it together with the other stunts sort of thing? Which is fine. And it comes out good most of the time. But this is different because it's like taking an existing script and a story and then like just infusing it with like all these things. I don't know. So now it's like a Netflix original action movie. It's like directed by the Russo brothers and cost $200 million to make. And it looks terrible.
Red 1.
And it's like, they didn't choreograph any of that. But like half the budget went to the Rock's fucking piss bottles. I don't know, man. We're cooked. Hollywood's cooked. It's over. It's officially over.
So the plane crashes.
Right. The plane crashes and John Travolta tracks down Nicolas Cage and is about to apprehend him. And Nicolas Cage also is like goading, like, I planted a bomb, like you'll never find it, whatever, blah blah blah. And Nicolas Cage seemingly dies or goes into a coma because he flies back into like a fan, right, or some shit.
Well, it seems very much so. They use like the jet. Like he flies into some kind of chamber of sorts.
It looks cool though. It looks fucking sick.
It looks awesome. It looks awesome.
See, and it's the opposite of The Rock. Because The Rock is like, you're like, okay, that's kind of cool, but like you don't have a reason to care because the performances aren't carrying anything. The story isn't carrying anything. And on this, it's like, it doesn't make sense that he flies into a random chamber in a hangar with like blue lighting and fans, but it looks fucking awesome. And you care because the action is S tier and the acting has been S tier. Like,
acting is so. The acting is because they're both like bringing crazy and the entire time and carrying it into the. And I think that's what's really great about this movie, and we'll get to further. Like, the scenes feel just as like exciting as the action because both of them are acting fucking or an 11. It's like
and it makes you care and appreciate the performance even better when they switch because it's already been set up in the 25-30 minutes who they are.
Well, So he's incapacitated. I was really confused because I thought he was completely like the way they kind of portray it. It seems like he's fully.
Well, they also, but even either way, they're like, he's not gonna wake up. Like for him to wake up, it would be like miraculous. He's basically a vegetable now.
But
and his brother also gets arrested. We should say goes to jail and is like, there's a bomb, and I'll never tell you. Right, so that's their problem. Is like they don't know where this bomb is. The only person who knows is the brother,
which is a great premise. Right. Again, it's like the same thing.
Still, you never expect what the answer to the question is. To that problem.
Exactly. It's like you wouldn't.
It's awesome.
Like who would think like, oh, how do we make a guy to get home to? What if he was on a fucking plane that was exclusively the most fucked up criminals you could than gay guy, and then this movie is like, what if one man could become another man via face transplant technology?
And they alter the body, whatever.
And in the coolest possible, like it's like Face Off implies they go so much. It's almost like it encourages me to say like further than they should, but actually it's like it only works because they go so in depth and like in detail with it. But they basically are like John Travolta character, Sean Archer. We have the secret for whatever reason, the secret technology,
experimental secret.
that I'm confused. I'm still confused with this movie. They don't perhaps do the best job of what agency is allowing him to do this,
I don't
or
think
if
it
it's like a
matters.
private company. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. But I was a little confused in that is the government behind this? Is
I
this
just
like
assumed
a
it was like
private company?
I just
that's
assumed it
like,
was like,
hey,
what if the
we developed
CIA had like secret projects like this, sort of like it's like
Yeah.
James Bond, Mission Impossible, kind of, you know.
So
yeah,
they're trying to get Paulus to give up the info. And he's in this prison.
Yeah, the magnet prison.
The magnet. It's so cool.
We'll get to that, but yeah. So
it's called,
it's called what? You remember what it's called?
It's called Erewhon, like the fucking
yeah.
grocery store in California. Connor Park, shout out.
Connor Park show. So they're like, then they're the CIA or FBI or whatever is like, damn, the only person he'd ever tell is his brother, who's now basically dead. Well, wait, what if his brother? He doesn't know that, because it's like he doesn't know what happened to his brother. Pollux assumes that he's just captured or whatever. So the answer is for John Travolta to face swap with Nicolas Cage. And they do that.
Well, not face swap. It's the thing. Because
true. Okay.
I also was like, I wasn't expecting it. They were literally just become.
Well, they were like, yeah, this guy's basically in a coma. He's not going to wake up. So we'll put your face aside and save it for when you're done. And in the meantime, you put on his face. We alter your body a little bit to be his proportions, whatever. And then when you're done, we'll switch you back. We'll put his face back on yours.
Also, important context. I think they set up his Sean Archer's relationship with his wife, and that gives a little bit more of like a backstory and a reason to care as well, because he's having trouble with his marriage because he's so involved in the job, and he's like,
and the hunt, because his 5-year-old son got shot.
Yes, because he's trying to avenge him, but she's like, you are Wire, you know. This is Wire, her son. Dead.
Also, he has a daughter.
True. He's a goth daughter. Yeah.
And there's also probably the most dated part. This is like the Michael Bay the Michael Bay strand for the '90s movie is the cutter bit where it's like being goth is bad and evil, and it makes Okay, we'll get to it.
But I like what they're doing there, like setting up that like the home life, business life, and that idea of like the hunt and how they're like, you know, it sounds a little cliche, but two sides of the same coin. They're both kind of like in it thing, which is chase. And for listeners, whoever's
zero,
who have seen the movie Heat. I don't know if you've seen Heat.
Actually, I've not seen the movie fully yet.
It's a long ass movie, and in my opinion, I thought it was okay, but I thought it was very long.
Manny loves it,
and it's a good movie. Anyway, I think this movie takes the same premise, does less of the character study, and does more of the exciting, awesome base goat behavior, cool guy shit, and it's so much more fun to watch. And it talks about this like two sides of the same coin, cat and chase, where it's like, you know, these guys are barely even characters or people outside of like who they are without each other. I think that's so. Billy, still there?
Yes, I'm here.
So,
Just my camera back now. Okay, I'm here. Yeah, I heard what you said though.
all good.
Cat and mouse.
Yeah. So, anyway, they tell John Travolta's character that they can do this, but like he can't tell anyone about it. Be super top secret. He can't even tell like coworkers really.
His wife.
Basically,
no
like
one.
only like one person, like two people at this like agent.
Like the scientist and the agent. Yeah.
And that's it. So they go through the whole thing. They alter his voice, alter his body, and they send. Yeah.
They what? You said you cut out?
They send him to prison.
Yes. They send him to prison
But not just any prison.
Not just any prison.
What kind of
the magnet prison.
Dude. So awesome. They put these like magnetic boots on everybody that goes to the prison. So you're like strapped to the floor at all times. I think it must have been like so cool. Like, there's like actual like tactile things.
Yeah.
The acting there that are like really cool about how they move around and we'll get into like there's a cool fight scene. But the prison itself is like this really interesting setting. They have like pieces for it. And it's again all like very practical, very grounded kind of stuff, but feels very like sci-fi. The way they do the like face is really fucking cool because it's also all like practical. Like they have these like molds of the faces.
Yeah.
And like you can watch like the face get cut off and moved around and put in jars and shit. And it's all like, I don't know. It just really adds to the experience. And it's so like almost overstated. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to enjoy a movie for those reasons. Like, I don't know the last time. I think like Avatar. Well, I haven't seen the news, but people bring that up as an example.
Mm-hmm.
This is like what it's like to watch like CGI. Be like,
yeah,
this how to do this. I get that from what I've seen from it, but I don't feel like it's my thing to say. But I don't know. I recently watched Eraserhead, and it was a similar kind of thing. But that was like in the 70s, very different on an indie level. It's like, I don't know. It used to be like, how did they like create this? How did they make it?
Yeah,
it feels a lot more special. For even like the smallest thing, like a 30-second shot of them like cutting face off and putting in a fucking jar. It's like, I don't know, that requires a certain level of like artistry that makes me respect a movie more than most made.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's really true. And you do get a little bit of that with the other two movies, just in the sense of like we don't make movies like this anymore, even if they suck. Not like, okay, well maybe that's too far, but like, I don't know. Like those are like 3-star mid movies, so to speak, on the rating scale. But they have so much more attention to detail and reality to them than like even some better stories, or movies with better whatever today. So it's interesting and sad to see. But yeah, so he goes to the prison, tries to get this information out of the brother, Pollux, and he learns the location. But oh wait, what's happening on the other side of things, Castor Troy wakes up without a face in the facility. And
Awesome.
yeah, doesn't have a face. And he's like, what the fuck is happening here? Pieces it together and calls his associates, some other gang members, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, and forces them to bring the scientist to the facility and forces the scientist to put John Travolta's face onto his and become John Travolta. And so he does it and then murders everyone who knows about this, who knows about the switch that this technology exists, blows up the building, everything. Then he goes to visit Archer as Nicolas Cage in prison. And then he has that scene that we parodied in the intro. It's like looking in a mirror, except not. Do you want to talk about John Travolta's acting?
Yeah. So this is where we need to get into both, because Nick Cage does put on in all the parts where he is playing, he is Castor Troy.
Mm-hmm.
As we've mentioned a little bit, are phenomenal. And he's like, and we've talked about it as well, as Nick Cage's acting, it doesn't always, there's a lot more range. He's able to carry it well when he's trying to achieve, but he can also play ground. So I do like when he is, and from this point on, John, sure,
you're cutting out a lot.
The body.
I mean, I think everything you say is understandable, but just letting you know for the future. So
true. He is, from this point on in the movie, he is Sean
Archer.
In the body, Castor Troy. And I think that, he's still handling that very well. You can see, I think he does an interesting job, playing that, I'm still figuring out how to be this person. As a someone who theater, this idea of, and just act, the idea of playing someone that is portrayed in the movie is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's another, John Travolta's performance is another layer of that, right?
Yeah.
Because something we keep coming back to in Age of Cage, there are certain movies in which Nick Cage is literally playing a character of himself.
Yeah.
For an expectation of what a Nicolas Cage character is. And it seems like by this, in 1997, he's already made a name for himself of what a Cage role is.
Yeah.
And John Travolta, seemingly being a pretty experienced actor at this as well. I mean, John Travolta, I can't name multiple things he's in other than
Grease,
Saturday Night
Fever,
and Grease. But which is kind of crazy how he's able to
yeah.
But something with both of those roles is that I'm only seen parts of Saturday Night Fever. I don't know if you.
When I was a kid, I saw it.
But yeah, but something with both of those is that he's extremely talented,
charismatic,
in terms of a certain energy that he has, charisma, a vibe.
I feel like that is kind of his main point that made him blow up too. Is just being charismatic and good looking. That's his entire role.
Yeah,
yeah.
And in his body, it's really shown in Grease as a musical, and the dancing in Saturday Night, really watching that. It's crazy because actually
twite, as they say in Austin Powers. Twite.
But he in this movie, he takes that the concept of the movie, in that he's like, all right, he is Castor Troy playing Sean Archer, but he's also like John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage,
Right, because
and that's what's so fucking crazy about it.
Because like as you kind of said, but just to like explicate it fully, as we talked about it when we watched it, but like it's not like it's insane enough that it's Nicolas Cage is playing John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage and vice versa. But it's not like John Travolta or Nicolas Cage sat down and was like, oh, what are the motives and like how does their character in the movie act? They are both consciously and subconsciously drawing on the actor's performance in every other movie that they've seen the actor in.
Yeah.
Like,
because you can't
separate
you
that.
can't disconnect that. Yeah. Because it all like combines into like your preconceived notions. And that's like an interesting statement about like acting itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that like the way you go about your roles is already like largely by like the other people you have like seen a lot of acting direct kind of like a lot of it is like, right, so like the entire premise of this movie being like the mimicking of characteristics, but then supplementing them with your own. Like in this scene, John Travolta is taking like not just Castor Troy, like like crazy zany like vibe that they set from get go, the priests, but it's also like all of that shit from Nick. So yeah, in this scene that we spoof, like talking about it's hard to even like do it just and talk about it. You just kind of have to see it.
What do you think is the reason? Why is it that when John Travolta so masterfully does these things and does his interpretation of Nicolas Cage and his attributes, why does it come off so often that he's serving cunt? Why is that?
And why is he
like, because we don't see Nicolas Cage be Nicolas Cage, and that's not the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, for some reason, does John Travolta?
Well, because John Travolta. Here's my thing. Nicolas Cage. I hate to say it. Like, blatantly straight.
Right.
Like in every possible. John Travolta. That man is a little, at least just.
Well, he's a Scientologist, and aren't they homophobic? I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking.
Are they homosexual? I don't know. They could be homosexual. I don't think, when I say like gay, I don't think he's like literally like sucking cock, but I think he is like he's a little he's a little queer.
It's a spectrum.
He's got some like queer attributes. Yeah. Right?
That's not my look.
A drag queen.
Yeah, literally.
That?
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I'm Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. That's how I feel like half the time I say it. See my career.
But no, I'm like,
my eyes.
I think he is like, I don't know. He maybe like a little bit more like.
You cut out. He's what? A little more what?
He's bleep that there. He's a little more. I think he might be a little more in touch with his flamboyant side.
Okay.
Honest.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. And I think that it comes through. In his certain.
Mm-hmm.
in his physicality. There's so much of this movie like he's doing just like hand.
Yeah, a lot of that.
He opens a scene. I'm doing like one of these parody, but he's
It's a playful.
He's, like, looking over the newspaper.
It's the most playful look ever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Huh.
And then he's doing like the $5,000.
Yeah.
There's so many things in the scene that like, and carry through the rest. That it's like, you just have to
see it.
It's
you just
like,
have to see it. Yeah.
Phenomenal. And then how Nick Cage playing Sean Archer plays off of
he does have the easier
it
job.
allows for, yeah. I mean,
because like he just has to be like, what's going on? I have to get it. Like, like kind of just. I mean, it's still Nicolas Cage, so he's still. I don't know. I don't think it's bad.
Die!
He does shit like that, which is insane. Yeah.
And again, like the physical acting of like the magnet booths and all this.
And he still has to do like stunts and shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which we'll get to. So moving forward,
they're in the metal prison.
Plot explanation. The where it gets confusing. Fucking say your names, but Castor Troy as Archer is like, basically does like the big reveal where it's like, I've killed everyone who
no
knows
one will
about
ever.
This.
Yeah, I'm the only one who knows in the world who you really are.
Just like, it's also like it's coming, but like the whole time the movie's called Phase. And
it really feels like the stakes hit.
Yeah, it feels like he's like. I really felt that. Like, it sounds stupid to say, but I really felt that way in the movie, and I don't know the last time I felt like that. Like, get out of it.
It kind of reminds me, and maybe this is stupider to say, but I know you still haven't seen the Daredevil series, but there is a lot of that. There is like a lot of like that is kind of unparalleled in definitely TV.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt similar tone in this movie where it's like in the show, it's like Fisk, the Netflix show to be clear, not the new one. Like Fisk owns everybody, like the police, literally every single person in the city. So if you're framed as like a vigilante or whatever, you're just cooked. You can't go to anyone. He'll just shoot you in the back of that. Like, I don't know, just like that feeling of like being closed in, I think is really well done, that show. And also here, because it's like, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
But,
and he is like, also like, dude, yeah, I mean, so it's also like unclear exactly they don't really feel like how long it's been or what, but it seems like it's been, I don't know. But he starts like, yeah, like, I've got a government job to abuse because he's like the leader of John Travolta's character, the leader of this specific like, counter-terror.
Yeah.
In LA.
And also he's been commended for arresting Castor Troy finally too.
Yeah.
Like bringing the Joker to justice, literally, so it's like the president's calling him, all this shit. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife. Fuck. And like that part's like crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, so, and we'll get to that as well. But
as we say, as we parodied, it's not just that, it's like the way he delivers it too, where it's like,
dude, it's crazy.
Like the fuck, or should I say, make love to?
And yeah, so then he, gets Nick Cage's character gets pursued by the guards. And Sir Troy as Sean Archer leaves them. Where do we go from there?
Well, actually, I should say the kind of mixing it up a little bit. The bigger reason that I'm just gonna say John Travolta, but know that they've switched bodies. So the bigger reason that John Travolta is gonna get a promotion is that he now knows the location of the bomb because he's Castor Troy and whatever. He has the information from Pollux too. So he just disarms it very easily. And then he gets national attention and stuff, and the department and everything kind of blows up in the sense of like he's a national hero. And then I guess there's the bit where he goes home, tries to get closer to his wife, closer to his daughter. Dude.
Real close to his daughter, who's like his daughter. The storyline there is that she's goth and she, not she like this is strange from father because he's so busy.
I just think it's interesting. Not only that they try to sexualize her, he doesn't do anything, but he's like stares at her ass and is like, "Ooh, daddy likey" at some point.
Well, he like smokes like a cigarette with her.
Yeah,
like he heavily implied that he's like, oh, he might fuck his daughter.
But then eventually, I think it does become, not that it makes the other parts any better. I'm just saying I think it does become more of a like, because there's the bit where she's out with some guy and the guy tries to make a move and he like protects her.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
So he, that's pretty important. Crazy thing here is the guy that plays her like boyfriend tries to rape her is Danny Masterson, convicted serial rapist.
Which is the equivalent of later, if there was a role where there was an Olympic runner and it was played by Usain Bolt.
Yeah. Pretty fucking crazy. And also Scientologist. So
there you
go. But and like predicted that like 20 years prior to conviction. Good for them with this movie.
Yeah. But the weird bit is that both John Travolta and both the villain and the good person in this movie both make similar / identical comments about the goth daughter, where it's like, well, what do you expect will happen when you dress like that? Or is it his mom, her mom, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's just a weird like through line through this movie that apparently everyone agrees on, which is that if you dress goth, you're inviting rape and trouble.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Weird.
Which I thought 1997 would be too late for that, but I guess not.
Apparently not. But he does like, he is like, and this comes back. But he's like, here's a knife. Here's how to do it.
Yeah.
So he's like kind of woke with it.
Yeah, then he becomes dark woke for a minute. Yeah. He's like, here's a knife. If anyone does that, like just kill them.
Try to
She's like,
fucking
cool,
kill them.
thank you.
Yeah. She's like,
thanks for the cigarette and knife. Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know the timeline in which that happened. Probably.
I mean, it's like its own little B plot or whatever, so it doesn't matter that we jumped ahead on that. But
he, Nick Cage is trying to get out of prison. John Travolta's character is able to get his brother out of prison as like a plea deal to be like, oh, where is the bomb?
Yeah.
Even though he already knows where the bomb is. Yeah. So that's how he gets Pollux out of just. So now he's trying to, and he enlists the help of It's some well-known actor that
Who?
the guy, he's like a big guy.
Big guy.
I don't know. Maybe I'm.
I'll have to take a look.
But they're in like the place where they're getting.
Where they're getting what?
They're getting
Strip searched.
To they have to take the metal magnetic boots.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of these actors, but
maybe.
Hmm.
So they are like, this is the only place in the prison where the magnet. So he's like, this is gay. Which leads to
pretty good escape sequence.
I would say so.
Some prison riot action.
Again, a lot of like a crazy, like a prison riot. Classic,
there's also a giant screen for no reason. A little mini jumbotron in this green lit magnetic prison. Very unique visual.
Mm-hmm. And they kills a lot of
people. Yeah.
Kills a lot of people. Where he especially supposed to be like a good guy. Kills a, but they kind of like justify it being like these cops are like prison. There's a whole like, thing where he's like, I'm gonna fire.
Yeah.
Which I think is similar to the, the Rock. Over the, they just killed, but like good ones, like they're doing.
Yeah.
I just think that's it. Doesn't really mean anything for the movie, but
yeah. Well, I prefer it this way. I prefer when they're not trying to like balance that with like good war and bad war and military good sometimes. Like it's just like either just drop it, just fucking do an action movie, focus on the plot. But yeah, so he escapes prison, then he goes to like Castor Troy's hideout with all the other gang members, as well as Castor Troy's girlfriend, on and off girlfriend, and she has a son who reminds him of his dead son.
Which is really trippy, and I like that part quite a bit.
Yeah. And then basically John Travolta finds out that he escaped, and that's where he's hiding out. So he does an FBI raid on the building and kills most of the members of the gang, including the Castor Troy's, the kids who they think is the kid's dad, but it turns out that the kid's dad is Castor Troy. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the raid's really well done. We get a one-on-one action scene of John Travolta and Nick Cage kind of facing off, if you will.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The mirror shit.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god,
mirrors.
John Woo. John Woo.
God. It's just shot really well. Again, there's only so much to talking. But a lot of cool imagery with all the mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And shooting through the mirror.
Yeah.
At each other.
There's like one specific shot that's pretty crazy where it's just like, it's just, again, you kind of have to see it, but it's just like Nicolas Cage looks like he's shooting John Travolta in the mirror, but it's like they're shooting themselves, and obviously that speaks to the theme of the movie and whatnot. Um. So the FBI chief is like, all right, well, why'd you do this? It's a raid accomplished nothing. There's a bunch of dead people. We have no information on the big criminals, and this was for nothing.
Just with that, also, yeah, that scene, I think they like so much like gratuitous, and it's just like a staple of this movie, but like crazy gratuitous, where it's like people are just shot in ridiculous ways.
Oh yeah, dozens and dozens
doing,
and
like,
dozens of them too. It's like a GTA mission. It's like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It really feels like you're like raiding it. You know, they're doing like a full raid on the house. It's like anyone in sight.
And also Pollux gets killed in the crossfire.
Pollux died.
Yeah. So John Travolta is mad about that. He's mad that Pollux is dead. He's mad that he couldn't catch Nicolas Cage. So he also that he's getting lambasted for it by the director. So he kills the director.
Yeah.
And it fakes.
Oh, dude, yeah, that person crazy.
Yeah, and he fakes him having a heart attack, and he's like, "He's dead. What do we do?" And then he gets promoted to the director. So now you have John Travolta, Castor Troy, really, as John Travolta, now in charge of the FBI or whatever this division is, or whatever. And at this point, we have the bit where Nicolas Cage convinces his wife that he's actually her husband, and it's not John Travolta. And
he breaks into her house.
Right, breaks in. She doesn't really believe him. Then he's like, please, like, just you can test my blood at the hospital because she's like a doctor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because they bring up like the only thing it doesn't change about you is
your blood.
They like make a big point of it, and they're the switch. It's like the only thing it doesn't alter.
Your blood type, yeah. So he's able to do that, and there's like kind of a heartfelt sort of like story. He's like, oh, I remember when we first met, whatever, like something that only he would know. So he's able to confirm his identity to her. John Travolta's getting suspicious, right? He even goes to the hospital to check on her, and it's a whole thing. But then we get to the final piece, which is the director's funeral, who John Travolta killed. And that's when Nicolas Cage plans to try and get John Travolta, because he'll be vulnerable there. So John Travolta, so he shows up. John Travolta takes the wife hostage. Again, just gratuitous action sequence, very awesome on this little sort of
jumping, a lot of
jumping, shooting. It's like on a sort of like on a beach. Yeah, okay. That's John Woo's signature thing. Also, the doves. These multiple movies where there's just a dove flying around, or it'll symbolize certain things in the movie. So that's cool to see that again. Because it's also like in a church, so there's a lot of biblical imagery and lines from John Travolta about that. So Castor Troy's girlfriend, who has the son, she's there. She gets killed. And so the son is now an orphan. Just want to put that out there as a note. Don't forget that. But then we have an awesome sequence, the boat sequence. Absolutely gas. Again, so how did they make that? How did they pull that off practically? They have them fighting on the boat. One's like points where one of them is on the edge in the water, flying on the water. The explosions.
Feet on the fucking.
Yeah, the explosions are fucking beautiful. Nice and big and orange. And then they fight, and one of them has a spear gun. And John Travolta tries to like shoot it at Nicolas Cage's face, and vice versa. And then finally, Nicolas Cage kills him with the spear gun.
Well, John Travolta, before he does this, he's like, I'm gonna fuck up.
Yeah, you'll never be yourself,
you're-
even if you get me.
So yeah. So he like tries to like cut his own face off.
Face off.
Like fuck it up. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy style.
It's such a crazy fight. Like the sequence of the boats right into that is very high octane. You know?
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, it's always like, the good guy's gonna, but I do feel like they do a good job, at least making it pretty like even.
Yeah.
Could go. Yeah. At least they like keep it like that's not the only thing.
Yeah,
they keep you invested enough that it's.
I mean, even in these movies, and especially the fact that they're from the 90s and not now, I would expect there to be outcomes where the bad guy wins or they both die or some shit, So,
yeah.
There's always a better chance of creativity with that. So, but yeah, so he gets him and he switches his face back. And also his wife convinces everyone with the evidence that, who he really is. And they adopt the orphan kid, which is a nice little full circle because his son got killed by Castor Troy, remember? So then you get that ending. And also the daughter's not caught anymore, thank God.
The daughter does normie trad.
They converted her back to
yeah. Rip.
Yeah, so that's Face Off.
That's Face. Pretty fucking great.
Fucking awesome. Obviously 4 stars for me.
I think I gave it.
You gave 4.5. Yeah. I don't remember. I'm just guessing. I might have given it 4.5 too. But it's at least a 4.
I gave it 4.
Oh, I gave it 4.5 too. There you go. There you have it.
Yeah, really loved it. And, I'll in case we didn't clear, this is a Nick Cage movie.
This is a Nick Cage movie, yeah.
But this is a John Travolta movie. And we might need to be talking about
we might need to be the thing where it's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game.
John Travolta apology form. I should never have met you for a disease.
Well, there is another John Woo directed John Travolta film. Broken Arrow.
What is it? Okay.
I've not seen it, but it has significantly worse reviews than this one, so.
Okay, that's good to you kind of no-sold my time of
Travolta.
Do you have any thoughts?
I'm not against it. The thing is, we have so many candidates out there. Time of Travolta, Winter of Will Smith. It's talked about. Days of David Lynch. Tenzin still wants to do, but he wants me to watch all of Twin Peaks in one sitting or some shit. I don't know. I don't know.
The Days of David Lynch.
I say let's get through Age of Cage and get out of our 20s first, and then because that's how long it's going to take to finish Age of Cage. You're cutting out.
No, we'll
do. Go ahead.
We're back on our shit.
Yeah,
we're back. The summer. Well,
we don't talk about that one.
Cut into the theme. You've already played.
Yeah. It's the Age of Cage. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty good?
Feeling pretty good.
Okay.
It
is late. It's been a while since we've done a late.
Been late. But did it. We're guess back out for you. And it seems like what we have really sci-fi.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Watched all those movies. So maybe we should do that. But got other options.
We have a lot of options.
Spice it up. Do vampires.
We could do vampires. We could do. And don't forget, Age of Cage it's an installment, but there could be other things in between.
Yeah.
We're eventually gonna do Star Wars. We're gonna do Superman. Superman comes out soon. Just a few weeks now. And that's very personal to you because you have a connection with the actor. You're best friends with him.
He's from Philadelphia.
You worked at the theater you work at, or he played.
He likes Wawa hoagies.
He likes Wawa hoagies.
Said that.
Okay, that's good. And you're gonna you have his phone number, so you can call him to be on the Filmatic for Superman.
Exactly.
And then lose your job.
And lose my job.
And then he doesn't respond because,
Well, you never know.
No, he seems polite enough that he'd say no, thank you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up Age of Cage. What other? I recently. All right, we got this. Here's what we've done so far. Right, We've done Dream Scenario, Long. We did National Treasure. We did the Sorcerer's. We did action, which we changed our action part 1, part 2 a little bit. We switched up Gone in 60 Seconds.
Ooh, Gone in 60 Seconds we gotta do. Yeah,
it'll be good.
I think
we've got the lowest rated 3. We got the highest rated 3.
I think what I've learned from this episode is we need to start early when we do terrible movies, because I feel like doing the first 2 movies really wore us down tonight.
That's fair.
Not that they're terrible per se, but you know what I mean. Like there wasn't much to talk about.
No, you're not.
Yeah. I do think next we could take it easy in the sense of like doing Ghost Rider next, because that's only 2 movies and it's very marketable. It's much more popular, IP.
I like that.
I like that we have a full episode just for Willy's Wonderland. I'm really excited for that.
Dude,
and we have to get so many people on that one because, we had that formative moment during COVID when we all watched it on YouTube when it came out.
So,
yeah, I mean, even doing thrillers, horror, there's actually a lot of potential for the next one to spice things up.
Bro, and let me just say,
You've got something?
Big reveal for you.
You have a big reveal, okay. Okay, so for audio listeners, Casey just got up to reveal something. Do not know what. We'll find out together. They returned. They're putting their headphones back on. Headphones are back on. And
what if I told you we're doing another giveaway?
We're doing another giveaway. Let's go.
So, what would you like to know this prize to be? What if I told you I don't know when we're going to do this episode, but I am recent of
the Wicker Man DVD.
The uncut, unrated, alternate ending, not seen in theaters edition, The Wicker Man remake of the 70s movie, starring Nicolas Cage.
It's on our schedule. It's on our schedule.
On DVD. All right. Full screen edition. Fresh. It's got 2 editions of the movie. Unrated version with an alternate ending sequence not shown theatrically because it's so fucked up. And the widescreen theatrical release version. So if you're a purist, or a puritan. And then there's also a commentary track as well with the writer director. Not with Nick Cage. It's kind of lame. But
I know
it
nothing
still
about
says
that
it's
movie,
only
so I'm
PG-13.
excited.
I know nothing at all. As well.
I know people shit on it. That's all I know. Blank
kind
disc. That's kind of
lame.
concerning.
It's a blank disc. But it is the movie.
Hopefully.
Anyway,
And you're gonna personally sign that?
I can personally sign it. And I don't know if you see as well. It's originally from a Hollywood video. I found this while walking around New Jersey. I stumbled across a in the middle of like a trailer park, New Jersey. A Blockbuster. They do these things called free Blockbuster.
Mhm.
People just put movies. It's like this like little free
Like a
little
book?
library.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found this in there. I also found Whiplash on Blu-ray.
Well,
That shit I'm
there you
keeping.
go.
But this, it's from a Hollywood movie originally.
So it's got a lot of value. It's got a lot of value.
Yeah, well, it's worth $15. It's probably inflation. I don't know if you heard, but it's worth more than 15 now. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So if you want this, get ready. Comment.
What are they gonna comment?
I don't know. This year, I did everything else. You give me some.
I feel like with the way this episode has gone, I mean, I hope it turns out. I feel like I always have a negative outlook, right? It always turns out better than I think. But given the way this episode has gone, the chances of someone making it this far in very low.
The way this episode has gone.
Well, it's just been a bloated little bit episode, you know. So comment below.
Comment below. Nick Cage uncut.
Nick Cage uncut.
I want to see uncut.
Yeah, that's the key word. But really, you just need to have uncut in there.
Uncut.
Right. And you'll
Do you think he's uncut?
Yeah, I think he probably is.
That
so? Seems like the type. Come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Do you think what do you think?
I think he could be circumcised.
No, are you kidding me? Nicolas Cage. Come on. Well,
yeah, you think he's rocking the force?
I think so. It seems like the type.
All right. Okay, well, actually, here's what you do. Comment whether you think Nicolas Cage has foreskin or not. You just have to comment
yes or no. Yeah.
Like, just yes or no. Don't say anything about it.
Well, if you want to, you can.
If you want to. If you want to give it, like, a reasoning, feel free.
But I would assume you don't want to.
Just DM. Yeah. You can just DM that to us. We'll enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk. You can give descriptions.
Yeah, we'll do it the normal Filmatic style where we do these sort of deep episode drops, very deep into the episode. Mm-hmm. Eventually, no one comments because no one listens to the podcast. But
yeah,
then we release it as a clip with special instructions, and people still don't do it because they do not give a shit.
True.
What's the point? That's what happened before.
But you out there, you will.
We'll see. We'll come up with like a little game next time or something, a little riddle or some shit.
Yeah.
Release that as a clip, as a short, as a reel, if you will. There you go. The latest giveaway for the Age of Cage. And I still have the Ghost Rider posters, so we have plenty of.
True.
We have plenty of.
We have a lot of giveaways. Yeah. We haven't followed up on that at all.
That's fair. We haven't mentioned it. It was we mentioned that back during Dream Center, Long Leg, something like that.
Yeah. So I think it was Long Legs the last time we talked about that.
Long Legs. But also the last time Darian was on the episode on the Filmatic.
Maybe we'll get Darian back for Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland and Ghost Rider.
Maybe we do that next.
I feel like we got to.
Probably coming So they connected.
Yeah, anything you want to plug?
Anything
you want to plug?
Other than Infinite War, Suffering.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk more about politics, but I'm too tired for that.
We'll do a special. Guys, we're getting drafted. Filmatic is now being recorded for Eric's.
More like from jail when I refused to join the military. The prison library.
But we stay safe.
Stay safe.
Check. Believe.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah, we'll see.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
See you guys. More Age of Cage, more Filmatic coming soon, and we'll catch you very soon. We'll be more on top of it, right? All right. Peace out. Filmatic.
Bye, y'all.